So another key concept in lean thinking is standard work. It's not unique to lean, as you might recall from the history lesson early on in this program. We were talking about how Frederick Taylor and Henry Ford used the idea of standard work to document the standard way a task should be performed. So why is it important? What is the value of standard work? Well, of course, for one thing, having a documented standard ensures a level of consistency. It reduces variation in the way that the work is done. It also can help meet any particular quality or regulatory requirements, because you would clearly document any standard to conform with those requirements. It can help inducting and training new team members, because you have a clear standard to guide them, for them to be trained to, and to refer to in any moments of doubt. But as important, maybe more important beyond any of those reasons, standard work is key within lean thinking because it is the basis for improvement. In fact, Taiichi Ohno said, "Without a standard, there can be no improvement." It is the baseline, it is the foundation from which we plan improvements and start the PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. So it truly is foundational to continuous improvement. So how do you define a standard itself? Well, a standard should reflect our shared understanding of the best current way to do the activity, to do the job. Note, I chose my words carefully there. I said our shared understanding. So that means pooling together the collective wisdom of those who know this work. And therefore it should include those who are doing the work. They know it best. And also from a sense of change management, it's going to work better if people feel engaged and involved. So it reflects our shared understanding of the best current way. Best meaning safest, fastest, cheapest, most efficient, highest quality, a combination of those factors. And it's the current way. It's the standard for today. Tomorrow, we might discover a better way or have an idea about an improvement. So we should test that using Plan, Do, Check, Act as a cycle. And if it's proven to be a better way, then that becomes the new standard. So the standard is always changing. It's never fixed. There's always a better way. As Thomas Edison said, we just need to find it. And once we've found it, then we lock it in as a new standard. So now it's time for a simple fun exercise to bring the subject of standard work to life a little bit. And the idea of visual controls and visual management is a strong connection here. You're going to draw a pig, at least try to, in this exercise. And you're going to use this grid, simple grid, as a framework for drawing the pig and for following the instructions that I'm about to give you. So you should have an A4 sheet with a 3x3 pattern looking like that. So if you're ready, I'd like you to just follow these instructions that I'm going to deliver verbally to you. So with your pen in hand and the grid in front of you, task 1, could you draw a letter M at the top left intersection? As a subset of that instruction, the bottom centre of the M touches the intersection, just to give you some clarity there. Step 2, draw the letter W at the bottom left intersection. And in this case, the top centre of the W should touch the intersection. Step 3, draw the letter W at the bottom right intersection. Again, top centre of the W touches the intersection. Step 4, draw an arc from the letter M to the top right intersection. Step 5, draw another arc from the top right intersection to the bottom right W. Step 6, draw an arc between the two bottom W's. And we're approaching halfway now, in case you're wondering how long this is going to take. Step 7, draw the letter O in the centre left box. Step 8, draw an arc from the letter M to the tangent of the circle. Step 9, draw an arc from the left W to the tangent of the circle. Number 10, draw an arc for the mouth. The subtask here is that it must be halfway between the W and the circle. It must be a happy pig, so that's an important part of the instruction here. Okay, step 11, draw an arc for the eyes. And in particular, that's halfway between the M and the circle. Step 12, draw a cursive letter E near the top of arc on the right. Then finally, step 13, draw 2 dots in the middle of the circle for the pig's nose. If you followed that diligently and accurately, you should have a beautiful looking pig, and it should look like that. Now, if it hasn't looked exactly like this, I would say you shouldn't be too hard on yourselves, because the point of the exercise was to demonstrate that verbal instructions are often not enough to give clear communication around what's expected to be achieved and how to achieve it. Usually visuals, pictures, perhaps video content brings the subject alive, but also communicates much richer information about what good looks like, what's expected, and also perhaps what's not expected. So in line with the whole idea of visual management, visual controls, which is important to lean thinking, is visual standards that are brought alive through pictures, photographs, video content as a way of accurately and fully describing what the steps are, what the requirements are, what the sequence is, so that it can leave little room, in fact, potentially no room for variation. So finally, with regard to standard work, let's talk about sustaining our improvements, sustaining the gains in our improvement cycle. So here we have a graph of performance over time in an organization. And what I'm showing here is, here's our baseline performance, and at some point it was decided we need to make some improvements. So maybe there was a project activity or a Kaizen activity to drive improvement at this point. And it was achieved for a short amount of time. But then what happens too often is we slip back. We turn away from that improvement. We focus our effort on the next project somewhere else, and over time the performance degrades and might even slip back to where you were. And then sometime later we determine again, well, it's time to solve that problem or make an improvement in that process, and we achieve temporary success, and again it slips away. And I know from my experience this is very common for organizations to only achieve temporary success rather than sustained success. And why is that? Well, there are many factors that are affecting this, but one of them is, at this point in the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, where we've verified that the improvement is effective, that we're achieving success, we need to find ways of locking in that success. If you like, it's putting the chocks behind the wheel to prevent any slipping backwards of the vehicle. So I'm just going to draw a chock here that kind of depicts, a vehicle that we want the vehicle to continue going up this hill. Maybe a period of stability would be good, to embed the change, to lock in the change and prevent any slipping back down the hill. And then we can build any future improvement on a stronger foundation. So we might find here we lock in the next standard at this point, a period of stability, and then our third cycle of improvement. And so standard work is a way of formally enshrining the new process, the new way of working in our operating procedures, in our quality systems, in our documentation, in our training manuals. And if leaders are confirming that the new process is still in place, is still being followed, then we can have some confidence that our improvements are sustainable. After all, a standard is only a standard if it's being followed by everybody every day. So that concludes our little segment here on standard work.